So yesterday I did a video breaking down all 30 questions from the community Q&A. Today what I'd like to do is pick out my top 10 questions and answers that I personally liked the best and then go through them and give my thoughts. I tried to narrow it down to 5, but I really could not get it that low, so it's a full 10 questions, so we'll try to get through this as quickly as we can. Starting out with the first 2 questions, what zones can we expect to see? And will the Alpha 2 map include any portion of the Eastern continent? So what I want to do for this is go through the 2 maps that we have for Ashes of Creation. The new map obviously is here on the left. The old map is on the right. On the old map there was basically, if you looked really close, there were some watermarks that had kind of the developmental name for these zones to kind of give us an idea of where Alpha 2 might be, because in the live stream they mentioned which zones we would see, and of course he said the big areas, the Riverlands, the Badlands, which if you notice on the old map is right here. Sand Squall Desert right here. The tropics on the old map is this area. The forest areas, which I assume is the Redwood Forest right here. Some of the tabletop mountains are right here. And the tundra and ice areas. Now on the old map, the tundra was actually on the eastern continent. I don't know what they mean by ice areas. That could mean a lot of different things. The Iceland was actually Drakath Bor back in the day. I don't know if that's still the Icelands. They could even be meaning the Alpine Mountains, but that really wouldn't fit as that's kind of disconnected from the rest of the zones. So my assumption is we might see the Western continent and maybe the Icelands at the start, because in the second question they say, will the Alpha 2 map include any portion of the Eastern continent? And they say eventually it will, but it might not at launch. So we might see the Western continent, and it sounds like almost the entire Western continent, and maybe Drakath Bor included in that, and I could even see this little island being included as well. And the next question was, did the Underrealm size increase when you expanded the size of the world map? And it didn't increase too much. I was expecting it to increase by quite a bit, considering how much the map increased, but it didn't. This is doubling down on we're sticking with the core philosophies of the game and we're not changing for this response to player feedback question. So like to see that they're sticking to their original vision. Alpha 2 content in a steadily compounding way, adding new features, cyclical testing. Basically, they're going to do a little bit of both. It might just be slowly adding new systems in, but there might be some focused testing as well. So that is something I kind of wanted an answer to for a while. How are they going to approach Alpha 2 testing? Are they going to break it down into blocks, or are they going to just give us everything? Sounds like it's going to be a little bit of both. This is another Alpha 2 type thing. We might not see all the archetypes at first, not all the primaries, and we probably are not seeing all the secondaries either at first. It's going to be slowly added in, probably class by class or archetype by archetype, depending on how you would like to do the nomenclature on that. Meta server, I'm of the opinion that there is going to be like metas for them, and they keep saying we're the anti-meta MMO. I'm curious to see, they're saying there's just so many variables to server development, and it's not just nodes, but there's a lot of different things in terms of story arcs and other things that will prevent servers from being similar. I am curious about that and how they're actually planning to do that, because if there is a way to make a meta, players will find that way. Sounds like the freehold laborers and even the mercenaries are going to be pretty complex systems in terms of how you can customize them. That was nice to see. New ideas are mostly getting thrown in the backlog. That's good to see because they already have a massive scope. And the biggest thing remaining to get to Alpha 2 testing sounds like is content. So it sounds like, just assuming, a lot of the systems might be in place and now they need to fill those systems with content. So that's a good sign, I would say, to have a lot of the systems in place. And of course, I'm assuming there's probably a decent amount of systems that still need a lot of work. The base system, once they get the base systems in, then filling with content I think could go faster in theory, but I'm not a game developer. I'm just a random YouTuber and I'm speculating, so take everything with a grain of salt. With that, guys, I'll see you in the next video.